Christina.
I'm Christina, and we're the Gorgeous Geeks. And we're here today to talk about a book series of Marvel. There was a crossover event.
Siege.
It all started out, this was all a trickling effect with the Civil War. There was a Superhero Registration Act. Then Tony took over S.H.I.E.L.D. Then the Skrulls came and they felt Tony was inadequate job. And then Norman Osborn was appointed and he changed S.H.I.E.L.D. and made it Hammer. And then basically, this is how it all started. And he got some bad guys. He got Namor, Doom, the Hood,
Loki,
and Emma Frost. And they're like, this is how we're going to do things. This is how we're going to operate. So the bad guys pretty much became the cops.
It's kind of insane. I understand why Marvel did it, but it just seemed like... It just made me think about when Lex Luthor won the presidency in 2000.
You know what? There's like some crazy things happening with the politics in real life, so I wouldn't even, I wouldn't put it past the person who appointed him in the comic books. It was so interesting to see what everybody was going to do. Namor had some stuff he wanted to do for his people, and now
Tony really got his, he had some things.
Tony was basically on the run for this whole entire time.
And at first,
I would say his Invincible Iron book was just stellar. So you need to check out Iron Man: World's Most Wanted. That was a really, really good series. I never thought I'd feel so bad for him in my life.
At first, it was like you're getting exactly what you deserve, Tony. You like justice,
it's exactly what
revenge.
Captain America was afraid of happening, and it happened. And then he was like, happened. And they're like, Tony.
Right?
They're like, Tony, it happened. He's like, I know, it happened. He's like, well, we just gotta deal with it now. Let's just move on. I was so curious to who was gonna take up the reins when it was all over, because it's inevitable that Norman Osborn was going to snap.
Exactly.
And so Loki's manipulating everybody from the background, and then Doom and Namor basically have this agreement. Well, we're tight no matter what happens, and we're just waiting for the situation to be done with. Situation happened with Volstagg, and he was trying to save somebody, and it was a situation that was similar to
Speedball.
When Speedball was fighting the dude who blew up, and there was a school bus, and the whole town was messed up, and it basically exploded. A lot of people died, and it launched the Civil War. So he was trying to have the situation escalate to that point, and he's like, well, everybody's gonna go to Asgard, and we're gonna take out the Asgardians. Doesn't sound like a very brilliant plan, but he's like, well, everybody gets a clean slate after this if they do this. So he gets all the bad guys, and they go there, and Captain America's back from the dead, and so he rounds up everybody, and he's like, well, we gotta go do this. So everybody's fighting Thor. And so Captain America comes, and there's this big battle. Ares is there, and so he only agreed to go into battle because he thought Loki had taken over, which he pretty much had been. Mm-hmm. It was just so interesting how he got Thor out and Balder on the throne, and
it was sad.
It was very sad, but he's a god of mischief. It was just so interesting to watch. Ares agreed to do it because he thought he was taking a madman off the throne, and so Norman lied to him. So he, once he found out the truth, he tried to fight Norman, and Sentry's just been his lapdog. So Sentry comes, and he literally rips Ares in half, and you're like, wow.
Everybody, I think everyone who read that, their jaws hit the floor, because you just couldn't believe that Ares, God of War, just got ripped in half, literally.
And so you're like, wow, Sentry's really gone off the deep end. He's really nuts. He's really evil, and I don't know what they're gonna do to stop him.
Right.
And so Ares had this, this funky relationship with his son, who was not allowed to come to the battle, and he's the god of fear. And I'm like, well, Sentry's insane.
He's afraid of
all you gotta say is the void is there, and he launches off in space and cries for a few days. So
I really thought they would incorporate him.
Yeah, and so I'm waiting for this kid to find out his father's dead and come back and just whack him off. And so that doesn't happen. And so when they finally get to Norman wigs out.
They take off Norman Osborn's helmet. And then you see that his face is painted green. And Wolverine and Johnny Storm say at the same time, "Told you so." Because it was so obvious that the man was crazy.
Mm-hmm. After that happened, Sentry just went nuts, turned into this big monster. Weird crab monster. And,
he had crabs.
And so they're like, Norman, how do you defeat him? And he's like, he's an angel of death. You can't defeat him. And so everyone's trying to do something. As he totally took down Asgard, destroyed
it completely.
And so Loki, he was like, Loki's been manipulating this entire thing, and then he goes in this monologue spiel. He's like praying to Odin, saying, "I didn't mean for this to happen. In my heart, I just really wanted Asgard to be great or something or whatever. Even though I'm the god of mischief." And so I don't know. I couldn't take his plea very sincerely.
I couldn't either. It was
because I've been following up with him, and I know he's been scheming. So he used these stones that he gave the Red Hood to give him powers, and all the bad guys' powers that worked for him, and he took them and he just rejuvenated all the superheroes for the fight. And then Tony took over one of the helicarriers that Hammer was on and crashed it in the Sentry, and it exploded, and then he was Bob again. And then Thor's like, "Well, I'm not gonna kill you," even though he's crying. He's like, "Cause you gotta pay and atone for the things you've done." And then he is gonna attack him, and then Thor kills him. I'm like, well, it had to be done, and they kind of shrug it off. I was a little disappointed because I was so pumped up to see Ares' son Alex come and just go stark raving mad on Sentry.
I thought that would have been clever if they would have done that, but it's like they forgot about it.
And another thing, I was concerned that maybe they wouldn't do when Mar-Vell came back during the Civil War is when he came back to life. It turned out he was a Skrull, but when they came back, they had Iron Man and Mr. Fantastic had a conversation about his bands, and they saying, "Well, we think that's the only thing maybe powerful enough to maybe keep Sentry in line." So then the new Captain Marvel, who was originally on Dark Avengers but left once they found out that they were bad guys.
Right.
He got powered up and stuff, so I'm expecting him to come and play a part in all of it. And I was concerned when he didn't show up for the first book, and so I'm like, well, maybe still kind of having hope that he would come, and that never even came to play. So I felt like they set this up it's not that I'm upset that they don't follow what we expect them to, but when you have these hints implanted, it's like, why didn't you follow up on these things?
What's up with the foreshadow if they're not going to shadow anything? I like that.
I don't like it, honestly.
Okay. But yeah, that was disappointing. I felt that the first book when Ares got ripped in half, I mean, that was amazing.
At the end, they're like, well, Thor's like, "Thank you guys. If you ever need me, I'll be an Avenger again." And Tony's like, "Well, we've had our differences, but the world needs us." And Cap's back, and I know Cap's America, they're doing other things, so I don't think they're all gonna be on the same team. But it's like Civil War, Tony was so mean.
I love how I'm going to say it. You keep cutting me off. I love how when they were there and they asked Wolverine, "Did you guys think this was gonna be a setup to be arrested?" And they're like, "Yeah." They was like, "Why are you here?" And Wolverine's like, "Free beer." I thought that was great.
It's just let's be cheery again.
Yeah. No.
There's so many times when I look at the New Avengers book when it first came out, I'm like, I miss this team so much. I miss them so much, and it's over, and I'm sad. And so, in one way, they're giving it back.
This is just not the same.
It's just not the same.
But I still think that it was right for Thor to take down the last, take him out because of what he did to Asgard.
Well, yeah, but
the thing about it is
the thing that took him out was Tony got the helicarrier and he made it like a bullet and it hit him and he reverted back to normal for
I still don't understand how that was more powerful than all the lightning bolts that Thor struck him with. That's the thing that's also confusing me. How is that possible? It's weird. Anyways, tell us what you think. I'm Katrina.
I'm Christina, and we're the Gorgeous Geeks.